Hello, welcome to my den. I want to talk to you about how I got into um, receiving visions and doing psychic readings. Um, well, I've always been interested in the world of magic, and I lived in London started living in London from 2002. And I think soon after being in England, I realized that there was this whole world of magic that I wasn't aware of, and you don't see it in the mainstream, and they don't talk about it. So it was this hidden world of ritual and magic and just magical living that I didn't know about. And when I discovered it, I was lucky to meet wonderful group of people, all very inspiring and amazing and kind and generous with the way they would share information, share their skills and knowledge, and they really they were fantastic guides for me, and I feel so blessed to know them. And that was the first connection with this world. And of course, I was very young and very naive and didn't really see myself fitting in that world. I was just seeing, I was just playing and just having fun, connecting to these guys and doing the rituals with them. And just most of the time I had no idea what was going on. I still don't. I can't say I know what's going on. But the inspiring thing about it was that I understood the meaning of chaos magician, and that was how you create your own belief system, you create your own magical system, and you just work with whatever you want. You don't need to follow any specific rule. It's important to know the rules, and but you can basically decide what you want to do, and this world is your oyster. So that was fantastic to realize. But of course, I don't know, I wasn't very trusting of myself. I didn't really believe that anything I was receiving was a genuine communication or connection. If I was getting visions, I would count that as just a very active imagination, because I'm an artist, and obviously I have a very active imagination, which which can discredit a lot of things that would come to me as ideas and visions. So I struggled a lot in order to really believe in myself and just allowing things to unfold. So many years passed, and I at some point I started meditation, which kind of following a certain meditation practice, which was Sajmarg, and very weird things happened. Like my body was as though being attuned to a certain energy, and I could feel there was an entity entering me from my neck, from my spine, and just settling into my body and just moving my hands, and I would do these strange gestures, and which I later found they were mudras, and just which really confused me, but I loved it. It was not scary at all. Like, imagine that suddenly your hands are moving on their own. The idea is that if that would happen, that would be terrifying. If you realize you don't, I mean, I had control. I could stop it, but the urge was so strong. So, for example, I would hold my hand down, and then they would just get together and start doing this really complicated mudra that I couldn't even replicate if I wanted to. So it was a fantastic experience, and I have no idea what was going on. I was asking everybody involved in that system to maybe they could tell me what was going on, but no one could. So I don't know. It was great, whatever it was, and I kind of felt it was positive. I didn't feel any fear. It felt like a positive interaction, and as though I was releasing and in tuning, and I was being tuned into, I don't know, maybe being aligned with who I really am. I have no idea. It felt good. It felt good. And again, like these things happen in many stages. And I think for a long while, again, I didn't do anything. I kind of stopped meditation, and I didn't really kind of follow that much. But I was very interested in angels and kind of connecting to angels and chatting to angels and having angel cards, and just really enjoyed kind of having angel presence in my life and really liked the idea of angels. So it was all happening gradually, just was one thing after another. And of course, I was seeing lots of repeated numbers. And it all started from 2011. I remember seeing the first time 1111. And but prior to 2011, I was seeing a lot of 1111s and ignoring it. But the more I paid attention, the numbers just increased, and the repetition just got stronger, and to the point that again, I was trying to explaining it logically, saying like, oh, it's probably me. Just my internal clock is aware that it's going to be a certain repeated number, certain repeated times. I'm just looking at the clock at that time, wanting to find that pattern. So I'm searching for it. But then I could notice that things were happening that was out of my control. Like emails would come through that had repeated numbers, or you know, when I bought a ticket, and you know, the ticket machine would have like the time on it, like things I wasn't paying attention to, or it was out of my control. So it just started happening in that way. So it was telling me like, no, it's not just you, you know, something. So the more I opened to that, then I got really into paying attention to magical angel numbers and realizing, oh, it's definitely a thing. It's definitely a theme happening here, and there is maybe a communication. And then the other thing that happened along the way, like when I was kind of very conscious, starting to be very conscious about the numbers, and spiritually, I was gradually growing and having different kind of times that I would focus and follow a certain practice, but I never had a consistent practice. It would be something on and off. So things were disrupted quite a lot. But in every stage, every time I got back into it, I kind of could see that I would go further and have more growth happening, and just experience more and explore more. And it was always very exciting. But somehow I always got lazy and I forgot about it, and I didn't carry on. So there was always gaps. Then I'm also a performer, so I performed, and once in a while I had this desire to have a setup and do something interactive with people. So I wanted to do something like that. There was a space available, and it was a good place to try things out. A friend of mine was arranging performances and artists to kind of present work and get feedback and just try it. And it was a great opportunity for me to do that. And I realized that the space I really wanted to use was somewhere that looked like a cave. So it was as though that a papier-mâché cave. And I really love to basically just be in that space. I just love that space. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be an oracle in a cave. That's what I want to be. And I just wanted to perform and be the oracle. So I had lots of bits and pieces that I wanted to take, and sort of things that I have around me, like little dishes and candles and incense and things like that I just love having around me. And I thought they will create a good space. And I had the experience of enjoying immersive theater. And I just loved that world that can take you to a new dimension. You become part of a dimension, and just the way you experience performances is just completely on another level. Something that is so touching and so real, and it's just no longer you being a separate audience member looking at something, a performance or a play on a stage. Like, you are in the stage, you're part of it. And this experience in that kind of performance, that kind of theater, really excited me, and I just wanted to experience this similar thing. I just wanted to mimic those moments that I experienced, and just create something that reminded me of all the magical moments I experienced in different immersive theater setups. And I just wanted to kind of because it felt fantastic, so I wanted to feel the same. I wanted to have that connection and that create that magic and mystery, and I wanted the audience members to also feel something really special and unique. And so that was the trigger, and that was the inspiration behind it. So I thought, I'm going to do a similar thing. I want to have an immersive experience of being an oracle, whatever that meant. I didn't know where it was going to go. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew that I wanted to connect, and I want to have a gentle physical contact. So I was holding people's hand and close my eyes and encourage them to close their eyes. And I just wanted to feel safe at the same time, have this connection with someone they didn't know, kind of invite them to feel the intimacy and also be able to feel comfortable in a space, to just be without any specific expectations. So the first person that I held the hand and I closed my eyes, I started seeing something. I started seeing them in a scenario, and it was all like as if I was dreaming for them. And the second person, I had the same. I saw that person in a different kind of setup, and I didn't know what it was. I've never had anything like that. I mean, I've had experience of seeing visions, but it was never like this. It was never like this strong, or it was never so specific like this. And I could see how it changes from one person to another, and it's showing me different things. So I started saying what I see, and in a very brief way, I'm kind of commenting on what I see, and I realized that it made sense to people, and they responded with surprise, or they confirmed what I was saying was actually true. And I went along with it. I really took it seriously. I just went to this mindset that I am the oracle. I am the oracle. Therefore, I'm just gonna do it. This is what I'm doing here. And it was very well received in a way. And the what I received from people, the feedback that I got from people, it was very positive, and everybody enjoyed the experience. Maybe it was only one person that said, "I have no idea what you're talking about," but everybody else were blown away in a way, and especially that they didn't know what it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be performance or happen. So yeah, that was the start, and after that, I just had to carry on doing it because it was just, I discovered something. It was such a surprise. It was so precious and it was so exciting. And I did it as much as I could with my friends and family and different performance setups. And at first I couldn't easily accept that I can do this. I couldn't really call myself a psychic or say that I can see things. Like, I just found it a bit strange. So doing it as a performance kind of felt right, because I could just tap into that character, and I didn't have to actually say it was a psychic reading. I could just say it was a performance, and didn't need to call it anything. It was just a performance. And of course, it was very clear it was more than a performance. And something real was happening. And of course, in performance, real things happen, of course. But it wasn't what people were expecting. And I always love that element of surprise as well. I still, to this day, I still embrace moments that, occasions that I can do that. I don't do that as often, but anytime that I can have that setup and kind of create that performative aura, I dress up and, become a different character. And the way I dressed up was, I would have a sari. I would wear a sari, not properly. I could never really. I mean, it was a sari. It wasn't a complete sari. It was something similar to a sari. It was like a simplified version of it. And I would have a veil. I would have a scarf on sometimes. Or I would have a veil. I would have a mask always. Sometimes I would wear this here, which is Persian mask from South Iran, from Bandar Abbas, and I would wear that, or a different. I would have it. I've got a different. It's here actually. This one. You can't see it fully. Let me see if I can wear it. Oh, this one is from Egypt and very beautiful. And I just would have this kind of ornate. Yeah, I would wear that, which I just love the sound it made, and it's it's a beautiful handmade. It's beautiful. So I would wear one of these, and just would have my face hidden, and just go with it. And the voice that came out of me, it was a different voice as well. I tapped into something more serious, a little scary maybe. Yeah, she's very serious when that aspect comes through, and very solid, very grounded. Yeah, very different different way of speaking as well. So yeah, it was fascinating, and I still love to. I love to do it. I love to do it. But I feel when I do it these days, it's not that different to the way I am. I'm not tapping into a different aspect as much. I'm still very much like I am, because I've accepted myself as a psychic after that. So that aspect doesn't necessarily need to be present. But yeah, so after doing this as a performance for a little bit, and doing it for friends, then I decided that no, I can do this, and I realized I didn't need to necessarily hold people's hands, because that's what I did at the beginning. I can do it by just tuning into them, and I don't have to connect physically. And then I realized, oh, I can do it remotely, and you know, I can connect to their photos. And so I started doing a lot of distant reading for people through Etsy and Facebook, and then I realized that, well, you know, I can list myself as a psychic on Yale. So I did that. And so just gradually grow. And my practice, it just it's still changing. It's interesting to see. It started a certain way and it's changing. And I remember at the beginning, I was using tarot cards, and I was using some cards, and I was using visual. And I still might do that, because I started making my own tarot cards as well. Or using my own paintings for divination, which is really fun. But I realized that I really enjoyed connecting to the vision more than using anything else. So I just completely used the visions to answer the questions. And first year I started doing the readings, the way the visions come to me is that they appear as as if I'm seeing it, as if I'm dreaming. So the person I'm doing the reading for is present in there as if you were the star of this dream, this movie, and it's showing the journey that they're having. So this phase is showing, this vision is starting to show a phase. And at the beginning, when it started, I didn't really see, I couldn't see the full phase. It was just a very minor, very limited kind of image that maybe mostly focused on the present moment. And I realized the longer I sit with this, and the longer I allow it to be formed, I can see a bit further, and I can see maybe a completion of a journey. A phase that is but the journeys and the phase could take many months, or it could take years. It really is different for each person, and the imagery is just also very symbolic. It's very it's like a dream language. So the dream symbolisms are present there, and perhaps the same way you can interpret dreams, you can interpret the visions as well, as if they're from the same place, from the same dimension. And the longer I did it, I could see that there are repeated symbolisms, and I could then I could see the meanings, and then I could understand the symbols, because they were very specific symbols. Sometimes with each person, the symbols were different. Maybe certain things came through differently, and by repeating and doing this for variety of clients, I could see a parallel between them, and I could understand the meanings better. And of course, it's still ongoing. My learning journey is like, it doesn't end. You learn more and more the more you do it. You learn by doing it. And then I could see that this is basically, the visions are allowing the clients to have an overview of where they are and where they're going, but they always shown in a form of a potential, and it's showing the internal changes that will allow the external events. So most of the time I would see that I could see what the clients were struggling with, and I could see that what they need to do in order to move forward, and what they need to let go of, and how they need to face their fears, and how they need to, it's basically like a warrior journey most of the time, or basically just really facing and letting go of the pattern. So my readings be, are in a way a tool for self-development, is for people that are willing to work on themselves and take responsibility. It doesn't really work for people that are used to having regular readings from psychics that give them a very certain outline of what's coming and what's going to happen, and it didn't come through that way. And sometimes certain events come through, changes come through, struggles come through, massive ups and downs I can see, but the way I interpret them is not the way that many people are used to. So it doesn't work for everyone. Like this style of reading that I do, it doesn't work for everyone. It really works for people that are very keen to work on themselves and just, they need a bit of encouragement, a bit of nudge, showing them where they're heading is good. They're achieving a lot, and it's a really good tool to understand what you need to do in terms of like one of the clients, for example, I was showing her baggage, and she wasn't aware that she was carrying a lot of baggage. She needed to be told, you're just carrying so much, put it down. Sometimes it's like that. It's like a realization that you need somebody else to give you a mirror. It's more like a mirror, acting a mirror, like this is what you're doing to yourself. And then connecting to my spirit guide was interesting, because I didn't know I had a spirit guide, because first the visions came, and I wasn't aware that I had a spirit guide. I mean, once I was connecting to a guide, like I had connected to my guides before, like guardian angels or different guides, but I didn't know that I had this specific spirit guide. And it was fascinating. One of my friends came accidentally. I bumped into her in a psychic fair, and she, who is also a witch and a psychic herself, she basically said, who asked me, who's your guide? And I said, I don't know. I don't think I have a guide. And she said, you can't be doing this without a guide. Of course you have a guide. I was like, I don't know. It just came to me. I didn't really. I don't know. And she saw my guide for me. As soon as she started talking about her, she saw her, and she described her to me. And when she described her, I knew she was 100% right, because she described a figure that I was painting in my paintings for years. I always was attracted to that figure, a figure wearing this mask, which is from south of Iran, as I said earlier, from Bandar Abbas. She described her as wearing a dark cloth, like they're wearing the chador, and having a mask. And when she described it, I was like, I know her. Oh my God, I've been painting her. I've been painting that figure again and again. And I just love it. I also love to dress up like that. And the funny thing was, like, when I actually started doing the performances and doing the readings in like a dressed up kind of a psychic character, oracle character, I always wore the mask. I was basically, what I was doing, I was dressing up as my spirit guide. And that was such a beautiful realization to notice that, that's what I was doing. I was tapping into her. And the kind of things I like to have around me, which are very Middle Eastern in a way, and very timeless, that they could be from anywhere, like the candles or like the holders that I use, that they're, for example, like dishes like this, things like that, or dishes like this, these kind of things. They're quite, that's my sage. Let me burn some sage, actually. I feel it feels nice. So the dishes that I just love to have around me are it kind of resembles the type of dishes that you would have if you were living maybe in south of Iran or in a Bedouin culture, because I feel like there is a certain Bedouin I mean, they're not necessarily Bedouins in south, but maybe they were. I can't say I know much about the culture in Bandar Abbas. I don't. I've always been really fascinated with the way the ladies look with the mask that they have, and the masks look a bit like a bird. You can see like there is a beak. I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah, it's like as if there is a beak when you wear it. I've attached this. I don't want to take it off. So it just really stay put, honey. Stay. So it really, this look always fascinated me. I just loved it. I love to paint characters like that, and just really the mysterious look, just amazing. It's amazing. So I was already kind of creating atmosphere that would take me to that time and place, perhaps resembling something from that culture. Um, but yeah, it's so the way I work with my spirit guide now, since I've been introduced to her by my lovely friend, I um, started visualizing her and creating in my mind, creating an office for her. She's got a very big office. She has a very huge table. And the office was a bit dark, so I've given her like a big window. So it's like it's as though it's an office on top of a mountain. This is how I imagine it. It's like it's quite high up. It's really high up, because if you open the door, it's like a big drop, or it's like yeah, it's a big gap between where she is and another mountain. And you can see in the windows, you can see a beautiful landscape. And she the way she'd guide people is, and the way she would give the guidance is by, it's never, she never uses words. It's never spoken. She would use different objects to tell a story or give meaning. She always uses body language, or she would use, for example, if she wants to say something is rotten, and for example, want to indicating that a relationship is rotten, she will cut a fruit open and then show me the inside is like full of maggots. Or if she wants to show me that something is growing and it's a good thing, and you know, if there's a potential and there's growth in something, she will show me a pot and show me how the plant is growing. And so this is how she communicates with all of these kind of gestures and symbols, to do a lot with food. And a lot is around Iranian culture in a way that I can kind of identify. A lot of it seems kind of connected to my roots in a way. So she's amazing. She's just fantastic. And I ask her guidance too, and she's you know, I haven't done it enough actually. Like I should probably chat to her more. But it's the same with me. You know, sometimes I might get a feeling, or get an indication of like what she may have a feeling, may meaning, maybe a certain words comes to my mind, but she never speaks. And so yeah, I've been asking her advice and asking her for guidance. So that's why I just slowly stopped using cards, because I could see that the direct answer that I get from her is just so clear, and that I just like to just connect to her for getting the answers. But my readings, the way they've been gradually moving towards focusing a lot on the self-development and just empowering people to really find a way to face their shadow, work on their traumas and patterns, and understand that anything that is entering their life that they don't like is not a curse. It's most of the time it's basically them attracting things that they think they don't need, but they don't want in their life. But their behavioral patterns and their energy is basically actively inviting those things into their life. And in order to change that, you need to change yourself. So there is this is my approach to really guide people and kind of usher them towards self-love, because that's the key to everything. If you want anything in your life, you need to love yourself, and everything else will follow. Like everything that we're experiencing that we call negative is representation of our lack of self-love. So, and I realized that that's my passion, to kind of really encourage people to connect to inner child and connect to their, because that's just so important. Like every time I've connected to my inner child, and like since I've been connecting to my inner child, I can see my life change drastically, so dramatically, but for the better. And so mostly what I use in as guidance, and I'm inspired a lot by what has worked for me, the journey that I've had and I'm having myself. So a lot of things I suggest is well tested by myself. Like a lot of things I suggest or practices or meditations and different kind of NLP techniques, for example, that I've been using myself. I'm sharing them with my clients, knowing that they're just do miracles really, because all the change comes from within. And it's a fascinating journey, and it just gets better. The more you do it, it gets more exciting. And it's just the self-development is when you work on yourself and do the hard work, because the hard work is actually really facing the nitty-gritty parts and accepting them and trying to love yourself with all of those things. But it's very possible once you really accept yourself fully as you are and just not stop judging yourself, then life gets sweeter and sweeter, and then you can really find eternal happiness. Doesn't matter what is right or wrong in your life. You know, we can have so much missing in our life. We can be so much trauma can still exist, but we can be happy still. Like we can still have joy and move through our problems and just deal with them and whatever is popping up, because there's ups and downs, and that's what makes this life exciting.